Hello, I'm Sean, and right now we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of a Sabre. And this is probably going to be a short video because Sabre Armory is really simple. So to sum it all up, if your blade isn't broken, it works. It gets a little more complicated than that, which is why we're making a whole video. So we'll start with the components of the blade of the Sabre. So we've got the blade, we've got a guard, we've got a pad, a socket, a pommel and a pommel nut, and an insulating sleeve. So starting with the blade, it's pretty simple. You'll see there's a little piece on the end where the metal's bent over, so that way if you stab someone with it, it doesn't go through a lame or a jacket or a glove or any number of items of protective equipment. And then it's just a straight blade, basically. You can see that it's, you might be able to see, it's a little tapered here on the cutting edge, and then it's flat on the other edge. And that runs all the way down, and the pommel goes over it, and then you have a pommel nut here on the end. And one thing I'd like to point out is with Sabre, you want the pommel nut and the bottom part of the guard to be insulated. So you see here, if you buy a straight up electric Sabre, it'll have an insulated pommel nut that's got a plastic shell and then this piece of rubber or plastic that goes over the guard. If you start with a practice Sabre and put a socket on it, you have something like this. You see the guard here isn't insulated and you have an uninsulated pommel nut. And so this is a problem if you're fencing and you touch your Sabre to your lame. This makes your entire Sabre part of your lame electrically. So someone can make a beat on your blade or hit your guard, and that will register as a valid touch. So it's actually pretty easy to convert that over. You can put a Sabre socket on there and then take some black electrical tape and tape from about here up and then tape over the pommel nut, and that makes it effectively just as good as this one. So, but you'll also notice that the inside of the guard is a different color. This is painted so it's non-conductive. And then you've got a pad here and a socket, a two-prong socket. You can also use it with bayonet, I believe, but generally people use two-prong because it's pretty simple. And then it's slightly different than a foil two-prong socket. You'll see, hopefully, in there, instead of plastic insulating rings, these are just metal washers because both lines go to the Sabre instead of any wiring involved. So putting together a Sabre is really simple. It's basically, you put everything together and then it works until someone breaks a blade. And that's basically the only time you need to worry about replacing a Sabre. So that's all I have on Sabre Armory. Nice and short and simple.